Hey, I'm Nick Millard, and welcome back to PVD POV, where we bring you the new insights into the coolest little city in the smallest state. Whether you're a local looking to uncover hidden gems or a visitor eager to dive into our vibrant culture, we've got you covered. Each week, we're chatting with the movers and shakers in Providence, from restaurant owners to hoteliers and everyone in between. This week, we're heading behind the scenes at one of Providence's most iconic attractions, the Roger Williams Park Zoo. Brian Lavin and myself sat down with Executive Director Stacey Johnson to talk about the big things that are happening at the zoo right now. From the return of the penguins, to a brand new education center, and to what it really means to care for animals at a modern zoo. We also talked about how social media helps people connect with wildlife, and what makes Roger Williams Park Zoo such a beloved part of the community. So turn us up and experience Providence from a whole new perspective.
All right, welcome back to PVD POV. Today with us we have Stacey Johnson, the Executive Director at the Roger Williams Park Zoo. Welcome to the show. Can you give the listeners a little bit of a background of who you are, kind of where you've been, where you've been?
Sure.
Your history here?
Yeah, so I've had the privilege of being Executive Director at Roger Williams Park Zoo for almost 3.5 years. I can't believe it feels like 2 weeks.
Right.
It's just blowing by.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Absolutely right. I
Yeah.
love being here. I love the zoo. I love Providence. It's fun. And with that said, I've kind of been everywhere. I've been in the zoo community since 1987. It's really hard to say that out loud and hear it. In a lot of different roles and in a number of different facilities around the country. In Florida, in Texas, in Pennsylvania, in California, and now in Rhode Island.
Gotcha.
Oh, you have a wide range of places. And dare I ask the question of where's your favorite place?
I can't answer that question.
I think I just heard it. I think it was the Roger Williams Park Zoo.
Everywhere that I've been has been awesome, and I'm really glad to be here for a lot of reasons. And this is something that I say a lot, but it's because I really mean it. I've never been anywhere where the zoo is as beloved as Roger Williams Park Zoo is by this community. Even in San Diego, you get people that are like, there's that thing, right? The things they do. And I don't hear that here. And it's like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, it is kind of regarded as like one of the gems, I think, of Providence, right, by the community. It's a place where people take their kids on the weekends. You know, they're always checking out what's going on, and I think it's really great.
It's not only the experience that we provide and the education we do and sort of the values we hold. Roger Williams Park Zoo has always been a partner with the community.
Yeah,
and it's felt that way going in two directions. And so, kind of shepherding that and preserving it and expanding on it is fun.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that the zoo does with the community, or not to give back to the community, but to like events that you guys run for some of the. I mean, I'm even thinking just about like zoo camp in the summer.
Right.
Like that's great. Like to give opportunity for kids to spend their summers at the zoo to learn about everything that you guys do. But what other kind of things you guys work on for events and for community-wise?
Yeah, so community-wise, I mean, we just finished our annual Teacher Training Institute, and it's in partnership with the Parks Department. And they bring a group of, I think, elementary and middle school. I don't think it goes all the way to high school, and I'm going to get in trouble for going out on that limb, but there I did it. That's okay. It's a group of teachers every year that come in and spend 2 weeks working with our education team, but also with Providence Parks environmental team, and learning about what the zoo does, learning about how you can teach environmental sciences just by being.
Right.
It doesn't require a laboratory. It doesn't require a field trip. Wildlife is everywhere. All you got to do
literally just go outside.
Right, go look for it, and it will find you. Yeah. So that's really cool. And I just saw a list of a compilation of some of the feedback we got from the teachers again this year, and it was a lot of, I had no idea. Wow, you guys, I was kind of on the fence about zoos, but now I get it. Holy cow, So those are the sorts of things that make me go, yep, I'm going to come to work again tomorrow.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's great to have that drive and the love of doing what you do. And I think that probably comes a lot from the parks, like the zoos. Conservation aspect of it and the teaching aspect of it. So does that differ from some of the other zoos that you've been to or that you've worked at in the past of the conservation part? Or?
Yeah, so it doesn't differ, I don't think. It's a lot of personality and expertise based on the individual team. It's a lot based on big surprise budget. We as AZA accredited facility, conservation is required to be one of the pillars of our mission.
Sure.
So that's a given, but how much we expend in terms of blood, sweat, and tears and cash, is kind of up to us. There's always a push. We're always trying to do more. We're always trying to get better. It's really hard to quantify. There's like, we spent this much on conservation projects last year. Oh, but here are these 25 other things that we didn't even think about doing that we did. And we're always trying to do more. We're always trying to be better at that. And having mentioned that I've done a number of different things over the course of my career, I've been a zookeeper, I've been an educator, I've been an animal curator, I've been a conservation and science programs director, I've been an executive director. So in those roles, there are very few things that I haven't done on at least occasionally.
Sure.
In the zoo, in a zoo. So it's also about the perspective and just channeling your inner 5-year-old all the time, and being amazed by life and using this as a platform to get other people excited. That's conservation too.
No, that's great.
For sure.
And it comes through a lot with the programs that you guys have at the zoo too, because there's a lot of stuff that the kids get excited about too, which is great for the kids, but there's a lot of learning and a lot of like knowledge that comes out of these things just to be like, hey, this is important to Earth, this is important to our environment. And I feel like that comes through a lot on what you guys do at the zoo. And I think that shows a great job that everybody at the zoo does.
We find ourselves in a world though where education's kind of a 4-letter word. Oh, education's got to be boring.
Yeah.
It's got to be rigid. It's got to be. It's like, no, everything is education. We've even seen that in the development of the zookeeper as a role. When I started as a zookeeper, you were basically considered a janitor. Mm. And for years, when in job interviews, I always asked, so what do you think takes up 90% of a keeper's day? And if they didn't say cleaning, they didn't get a second consideration because folks think, oh, we're just there hugging on the animals all day. There's not a lot of hugging.
Small
that happens.
Piece of the day, right?
Yeah. And hugging on some of those animals is not going to go well.
Right.
You mean you can't hug every single animal over there? The red pandas don't love it?
You can hug them, but it may not go the way you expect it to.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Because I know there's somebody in our office that would really love to hug a red panda. So
they're not going to, tear you limb from limb, but they're not going to like it.
Yeah.
And they're pretty shy. You might not get the chance. If you offered, they would probably politely decline.
Politely, at least politely.
Yeah. Those red pandas are pretty polite.
Oh.
The red panda might be the favorite in the Lavin household. That's the one that gets talked about a lot. So
Yeah.
I'll have to bring it home to the kids. No hugging.
Good. No panda hugging.
Yeah.
Respectful affection from afar.
Right.
That's what they prefer.
Yeah.
But there is a mascot which is okay to hug at that point.
It is okay to hug Roger.
Roger. Yes.
Roger's cool. Roger likes being hugged.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah. He happens to be 6 feet tall, or 7 maybe. He's big.
Probably.
Big,
yeah. I would think so. It is definitely interesting to think about the whole aspect that you were talking about, the zookeeper being not just cleaning up after the animals, taking care of the animals, but it's definitely something that kind of exceeds that expectation that I think people still have today, like of what a zookeeper is supposed to be. But
our keeper corps are wonderful in many ways, but one of the things that I love about our keeper team is that they're not only willing, they're in many cases eager to visit with the guests. And that's part of the change that's happened over the last 25 or 30 years.
Right.
Zookeepers were over there, people were over here. Mm-hmm. You still hear them say it. Thankfully, it's less. But I got into this business because I don't like people. I like animals. Well,
I was going to ask, kind of what brought that change about, though? Was that more of like a strategic decision on the zoo kind of, leadership community's end, or was it more the public was looking to ask questions and connect with these folks?
Yeah, it's more the latter. The expectations. I mean, we love Animal Planet. We love Nat Geo Wild.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But what they've done is they've raised the bar for expectations of our guests on what good animal welfare looks like, what conservation looks like, what is wild. And so the guests now have a much higher expectation of what the zoo presents as an experience, both for them and for the animals.
Right. They don't want to just look.
Yeah.
They want to learn while they're there and hear from the pro versus read it on a sign or something like that, right?
Bingo.
Yeah.
And you know, social media, like everywhere else in our world, has, you know, opened things up in ways that sometimes are uncomfortable. Sometimes they're awesome.
Sure.
But sometimes it's really like everybody, we joke about it and we also kind of roll our eyes about it. It's like everybody knows my job better than I do. Everywhere.
At least they think they do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Perception versus
ask
reality.
them.
Right? Yeah.
And they'll tell you.
Yeah. And I enjoy, I mean, we talk about the social media part, but like I've had the pleasure and the experience of getting a lot of behind the scenes stuff, because I usually come on over when you guys have something new exhibit happening. I've got behind the scenes at the River Otters. I've got behind the scenes at, most recently, the penguins are back, right?
Yes, they are.
And so like it's awesome to show those behind the scenes things too. And I know that your team on the marketing side for social media does a really great job of like showing the animals with personality too.
Yeah.
I think that is, and that brings people to the zoo because they get excited to see the animals and like, oh, I saw that one on Instagram. I saw this one on TikTok or something like that too. And so I think it's especially for the zoo, I think it's a really good for you guys.
That has been a really cool side effect of social media and you know, just media exposure in general. Is I grew up in you know, an academic environment, you know, going to school for zoology, where, you know, it's got to be cold and it's got to be, you got to attach a number to everything, and animals can't have emotions because you can't know that they have emotions and right. And so that was what in zoos, you know, to be trying to create a professional attitude of respect as an image toward our guests. We made everything cold and almost clinical.
Yeah.
Because that was what you were expected to do.
Right.
And the cool thing is the science has shifted somewhat. There is actual quantifiable evidence now that animals do have emotions. Well, duh, we all knew that, but you couldn't demonstrate it. They're finding ways, you know, neurochemically, that's actually been shown.
Sure.
There's a great study about laughing rats. Unfortunately, the researcher has passed away, but this guy proved that rats laugh.
No way!
It was amazing. So
that's cool.
And he identified neurochemical pathways that, look at that! All mammals have them.
Wow! Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
so then, and that's how we learn. That's how research happens. And then there's, well, okay, we know this. So what about this? And so it gets to be tested. So now it's actually really, on a number of levels, cool to be able to say, yeah, this is Jenny the elephant. This is you know, Zon the red panda, and they have a personality, and here's what we know about them, and so sharing that
it creates so much more depth too to the story, right? It brings that connection back to the community too. It's like you can go see the lion, but when you know its name and you know its personality and what it likes to do, that makes that experience so much deeper.
The hardest part about that is sometimes you can't repeat the names the animals actually have in public.
Oh, right.
Sometimes they're descriptive in ways that we shouldn't share.
They have their public name then their nickname,
stage
right?
name
Their stage name, yes. So let's kind of talk about some of the new things. I know I already mentioned it just briefly there. The penguins are back at the zoo. So can we talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
That's a new exhibit that just opened a couple of weeks, a month ago?
Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
I was there for the grand opening, the ribbon cutting. You had a great tuxedo on. It was
I did wear a tux.
you had to match. You had your penguin suit on. Just
you
like
gotta wear a tuxedo.
I'm gonna gig him real hard now. Mayor Smiley promised me he was gonna do it too, and he didn't.
I heard it was a back and forth thing, and he decided at the last minute not to wear it. But
because the day before we were texting, I'm like, I'm still going to do it even if you can't.
Yeah.
And he had another engagement, and he just couldn't do the whole.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm going to do it, and it'll be fun.
That's okay. But it was a great experience there, and it was awesome. So tell us a little bit more about the penguin exhibit and how that came about.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
So it was a facility that, as far as I can tell, was constructed in the 60s or 70s. It's not a new facility, and it held seals, and it also had a wing that had penguins up until 2013. So we had Humboldt penguins until 2013, and they left because the facility was aging and just wasn't meeting all their needs anymore.
I believe it wasn't the polar bear originally in that one too.
Polar bear was kind of up the hill and around the corner where the eagles are now.
Okay, so then that's different.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very similar construction and style and appearance.
Yeah.
And because it predates me as far as it does, and we don't have a lot of good sequential photographs that there might have been some physical connection of the facility, but
Sure.
the exhibits weren't linked.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And we had a solitary harbor seal when I came in 2022, and they were already working on this. It wasn't my idea. Harbor seals are social. And he was by himself. His exhibit mate had passed away. And so we were already working to send him to Woods Hole so he could be with other, because they have a rehab facility at their aquarium, and just send him to a place where he can at least hang out with other seals.
Yeah.
So we did that. And so it's been sitting empty for a couple of years. And we were looking at, what is it we're going to do with this facility? Are we going to tear it down, build something later? We didn't have an immediate plan set up for it. And brainstorming happens the way it happens, and we were able to secure funding, thanks to Providence City Council, to renovate that facility and bring in Humboldt penguins again. And so we kept the pool the way it was. We kind of gutted the building and made a new, basically state of the art. It's there's always stuff you want to do that's more.
Sure.
Budget rears its ugly head at some point.
Yeah.
But it's really nice inside, both for the staff and for the animals. For the off exhibit space, new filtration system, getting them so they have indoor, outdoor. Bringing in, once it's all said and done, we'll have 6 pairs. They're part of a species survival plan, so we're hoping to have a situation where we're producing chicks and supplying penguins to other zoos too.
Very cool.
Yeah, I the facility is great. I went in there took a tour on the opening day there, and the facility's inside is awesome. I can probably actually post some pictures in the description of this podcast. We can link to it and stuff like that. But it's a really cool experience. I saw there's a disco ball hanging over there somewhere too that they have for enrichment, I think.
Yeah,
penguin parties.
We use the term environmental enrichment in so many creative ways. Usually we're trying to elicit natural behavior, but a disco ball's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So what the heck?
Yeah. Even if you're a penguin, it doesn't matter. Everybody loves a disco
seeing
ball.
the penguins in there doing, doing
a little waddle. Yeah, I love that.
So I know we talked about the penguins are new exhibits, but there's also some new construction that's happening over at the zoo too.
Yeah.
I know people that have been there recently might have seen some construction vehicles, which is actually a very fun thing for my son Gavin, who enjoys diggers. So anytime he comes to the zoo, he gets to see the animals, and then he also gets to see the construction stuff.
2 for 1.
Yeah, it's 2 for 1. Perfect.
That's great.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about what's happening at the zoo for the new construction?
Sure. When you come in the parking lot and you come in the main entrance right now, you're going to see this big construction site, and it's our new education center. So it's not going to have animal exhibits per se, but it's allowing our education team that we talked about earlier to kind of, when it was designed, it was going to expand. Like all these construction projects everywhere, right? By the time you get them built, you're like, yay, and we're at capacity again.
Right.
But we've got this gorgeous new facility coming up with 5 classrooms. We're going to have a nature-based preschool. It's going to be really wonderful for our education programs. Also physically located at the front of the zoo instead of at the back of the zoo. Yeah. So when you're dropping them off for zoo camp, now they don't have to hike half a mile.
Right.
And at pickup at the end of the day, you can kind of keep them indoors where it's a little bit cool and make sure they stay hydrated. Yeah. Instead of hiking them down to the front and go, okay, everybody sit now and sweat.
And we're going to wait.
While you wait. Yeah. If you've got young kids for kid that's been at the zoo since 8 o'clock, the 7-year-old that's been at the zoo since 8 o'clock this morning, is now 3 in the afternoon, and they're exhausted.
They're done.
They're
done.
My kids were done. I tell them it builds character. It's fine. That's right. I tell them that it's okay. You can be sweaty.
Yep.
We used to walk uphill both ways to school.
Right.
No shoes in the snow.
Yes, in the snow.
My dad actually told me that story. Yeah.
You believed it though, right?
Yeah, and I believed it. Right.
It's made you who you are today.
That's what it has.
Hey, it built the character. But no, that's great. So you have the education center there, and then I think there's another part happening in the inside.
So the other part of it is an events pavilion where we're going to have a 3-season tent that will house up to 250 people. So we can use it as an event rental space. We can do it for our own internal events. I know the zoo camp counselors are already eyeing the space for their imperial expansions because educators do that. Not that I ever did. So that's going to be wonderful all by itself. It's going to be a facility that we can do everything from our all staff meetings to your wedding.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing for the city, and coming from the CVB side here and putting on my CVB hat for like the sales side and putting on events. That's something that is definitely, I mean, and we've done it in the past. Like when conventions and meetings come in, they do offsite venues, they do offsite stuff, and they love going to the zoo. It's just such a great thing to have. But now that you have that event space, 250 people, that's no small offsite meeting.
That's a perfect offsite size.
Yeah, we're really excited about that, and it's it's going to be air conditioned, it's going to be heated. The thing we have to be careful with is snow load. So right now we're totally swagging this. Don't quote me because I always get in trouble for saying dates. Probably we won't be able to use it from December 1st to April 1st, but the whole rest of the year it's going to be available for hot or cold. It's going to have bathrooms attached. It's going to have a kitchen attached. So it's got all the things you need to come do that corporate retreat, that team building meeting, whatever you've got a
conference offsite, right? Yeah, you're at the convention center. You bring your board or your VIPs
all
down.
Of that.
Yeah,
we're really jazzed about it.
Yeah, I know, Lavi, you've been on many of a conference work trip and everything that, and so you've been to many different places, and having a unique venue like that.
It's huge. It's huge, and it gets people excited too, and it also shows like the personality of the destination. It's like that great community connection. Every conference that I go to, there's always that like, how do we connect back to the destination that we're in?
Yep.
Right. So having a space there where you can like come and do the thing, the community connection, and also engage with a community asset, I think is huge.
Yeah, and with the history we've got behind the zoo and behind Roger Williams Park, I mean, this park and this facility date back to the dawn of the era of the big city park.
Yeah.
We were in the first. We say we're the third oldest zoo in the country. There are a couple others who would go, no, we're the third oldest, but it was all right after the Civil War, when landscape architecture became a thing, and these urban areas were saying we need a place for nature for our urban residents to connect with green space and animals. In the 1870s, we think that's a in the 70s, the birth of the ecological movement.
Right.
Wrong 70s.
Yeah.
It goes back that far, and it's really wonderful for us to be one of those facilities that was part of the dawn of that era.
Yeah.
That's a big fight that people go for the third oldest? Is that
No, everybody's
you want to be on
the oldest.
You want to be on the podium though. You know what I mean, right? So you don't want to be fourth. Yeah, you got to be third.
What's the oldest? What's the oldest?
So you won't be surprised by this one. It is almost certainly Central Park in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
They began in the mid 1860s. They were accepting animals, not always wild, not always exotic animals, but wild animals from people in the city who had them and didn't know. There was a fire. There was a fire. It was like the baby drop off thing. Right? There was a fire station there, and people would drop off these found or unwanted animals.
Wow.
I'm making this up, but not entirely. They went to Florida. They brought back a baby alligator.
Yeah,
that happens.
I can imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
And wait a minute. Now it's 5 feet long and it's chasing the kids. What am I going to do with it?
Right.
They dropped it off at the fire station in Central Park.
Well,
and so that kind of led to that happening.
Of the zoo.
It feels like a responsible way to drop off an alligator, though. Better than like putting it in the sewer or something, right?
We've heard those horror stories.
Finding a pond somewhere and letting it go. Yeah.
So it's pretty certain that they're the oldest ones. Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago and Roger Williams Park Zoo in Providence kind of were born at roughly the same time. But the argument is over. Okay, so the design was done first. No, wait, the park opened first. No, wait, the animals were there for and then the other one, and this is the one that has the strongest claim, is Philadelphia. They incorporated a zoological society in 1859.
Okay.
But they didn't build a zoo until a little bit later.
Yeah.
So there's these four zoos. They're all like, oh, we're the oldest. No, we're the oldest. But
it's nice that Providence is mentioned amongst Philly and Chicago and New York, though, right? I mean, that's great clout. Yeah, that's great.
Going back to the what's happening at the zoo, is there anything else new? Are we working on any? Can we get any like behind the scenes type like new things happening?
Let's
that
break
you can
some
chat
news
about
here
that we won't get a dirty look from somebody else.
I'm going to get in trouble no matter what I say, you guys. We are in.
It's okay. We can edit things.
We're right. We're in design phases for Jaguars.
Awesome.
No way.
Yes,
awesome.
Great. Yeah, we're working on it.
Where would that be? In the,
See, now this is where you're going to get me in trouble.
That's okay. where might
It's inside the zoo.
Okay, inside the zoo. Okay.
It might be in front of Faces of the Rainforest, between that and the current education building.
Yeah, about
That makes
area.
sense.
There's a nice big space there that we can utilize for indoor outdoor. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great.
We announced in the spring for a lot of animal welfare and well-being reasons, our elephants are going to be leaving Roger Williams Park Zoo, and heavy sigh.
Yes.
Nobody's happy about that. I want to go on record again. It's not something I wanted to do. Recognizing where we are, where they are. Our team is doing an awesome job. Our elephants are in good health.
Yeah.
And that's all great news today. But things are going to change in the future, and there's nothing we can do. We can do about that. So we've made some really kind of painful decisions and difficult decisions about bidding them farewell, so they stay together and they stay a social unit and do their Golden Girls thing.
Yeah.
So we're in initial phases of what are we going to do in that space.
Yeah. It's a big space.
I'm not gonna throw out any species yet. I will tell you it's definitely looking like East Africa somehow.
Okay. All right. We'll be keeping an eye out.
Okay.
And it's definitely sad to see them go. But again, like you said, it's for the benefit of the animals. And
It seems like a great opportunity to get the community involved, though, with like a nice send off, right? These animals that we've grown up with.
So we had a 40th birthday party celebration for them last weekend.
Yeah.
They the three of them were born in the wild. We don't know precisely when they were born, and we don't know whether they are or they aren't related to one another. They all came to the United States at the same time, to the same location in Florida, before they came up here in, I think, 1990. So we've just kind of targeted, 40. Boom,
Right.
middle of the year. And we had that party last weekend. We had almost 5,000 people
Amazing.
come to the birthday party.
incredible.
And they were all great. And to their credit, more than a few people bent my ear about, you don't have to do this. They don't have to leave. And I'm like, I know, but they kind of do.
Yeah. No, and like I said, it's sad to see them go, but again, it makes way for new things at the zoo too.
Yeah.
It's great for advancements and diversity at the zoo. What you can bring in, what you can show people, and people can experience too. The zoo is great not only just for the animals that you guys have there, and people come and see that, but you have really great seasonal stuff that happens. One thing that people love all the time is the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular.
Yeah.
So, you talk a little bit about like the seasonal things that you guys have and offer.
So I've I told you at the beginning, I've worked at a bunch of different zoos all over the country. Halloween, for whatever reason, and I think the reason is it's safe, family, fun. Halloween is just like zoos own it. Every zoo, everywhere.
Plus fall, outdoors.
Yeah.
The evening in the fall is a great time to be.
And it's that last thing before cold weather sets in. If you're in a northern tier, just all of those. So zoos love to do Halloween, and our guests love to come do Halloween at the zoo. Roger Williams Park Zoo killed it. About 23 years ago when they first started with this Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular. It's not just most zoos do a 3-day trick or treat and costume parade thing. We do 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's become a Providence tradition in ways that I would, the creativity that went into this is just brilliant. I would have never imagined it. And, we partner with an outfit called Passion for Pumpkins, and that sort of as a family project and became a business. In fact, that at our AZA annual conference last year, a friend who's a director of a big zoo in the upper Midwest we was talking about, we're doing this great new thing. It's called Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular, and it's this. And I said, John, you're stealing that from us,
right?
Because it's the same company.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's 6 weeks of evening events where it's just spooky enough, and this is part of the magic. It's just spooky enough to make you go, ooh, but it's not terrifying, so little kids aren't. It's not a place for little kids to really get into it, right? Going out there and when I was here for my job interview during Jaws, and so I got tickets to just come as a guest that night.
Yeah,
and I loved it, and I was overwhelmed by the packed in. I'm feeling a little claustrophobic in here. I can't believe it, but it was great.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the feeling we actually want to generate. in addition to having Spooky Zoo, we do that trick or treat and costumes thing as a subset of the whole Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular adventure. It's themed every year. The creativity that goes into it, the artistry.
It's incredible.
We all tend to have the contest at home. It's like, oh, my jack-o'-lantern's better than yours, and then we see what these guys are doing. Like, okay, I surrender.
It is amazing. I actually, when I first started working here, I went up to in Massachusetts. I forget where he lives. John Reckner, the creator of the original organization. And filmed him carving some of the pumpkins. It's just crazy how they carve. You think of carving and just like make an eye, make a nose and mouth, where you just like have these poke out things. But the intricate detail that they go into, and actually just like it's carving. It's more like kind of like I would attribute to like whittling with wood or like carving in marble. Like they go to such detail. It's crazy.
The idea that you could have a likeness of Betty White as a jack-o'-lantern and you don't even have to label it. It's just stunning. It's like, yep, that's Betty White.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Besides the jack-o'-lanterns, what other, like, because this is all like, and this is where you think about it, where it's late at night too. It's after hours, I guess you would say, for a zoo when you're not normally seeing things. But what other things do you guys have for that's like a little bit different?
Yeah, so we do an annual brew at the zoo. And we get upwards of 45 brewers from around the region. It's not just Rhode Island anymore. And tasting is it's a tasting event, and folks can come in and sample. Some people are just give me my Budweiser and I'm going to be fine.
Right.
And others are like, okay, I've got that's got, and I'm not a beer aficionado, so I'll get all the analogies wrong, the hint of this and the taste of that. I'm like, I just liked it.
Right.
So we do that, and it's a lot of fun. And it's one of those little sayings you build up in your head over a career. It's like one of the mistakes that zoos everywhere have made is we cater to the kid so much that we actively discriminate against the adult.
Yeah.
Without even realizing we're doing it.
And if you think about it, the adults are paying a ticket too.
That's
right.
Right.
You got to have like if it wasn't for that, then it's like parents are free and the kids are paid for.
Yeah.
Which
everybody loves a zoo too, and to have a thing that's like an adult themed reason above and beyond to go to the zoo it's brilliant.
When is the Brew of the Zoo for this year? I think it's coming up in October. No, it's not
August.
August.
Is it the last Saturday of August? Yeah, I can't remember what the date
coming
up
though.
is.
Yeah,
last
Saturday.
Last Saturday. Yeah, I mean, so the thing to do is rwpzoo.org. We've got all those events always on right there on the homepage.
Yeah.
Sweet. We've done sort of a takeoff on the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular. We've also got Holiday Lights Spectacular.
Yes.
So and that to me is kind of the ideal cool. Literally and figuratively, sort of date night, but it's also for the family. We've got music, we've got the s'mores, we've got some activities going on. We've got Christmas lights,
and like the year roundness of going to the zoo is, I think, really important too, because it is. When my wife and I, pre-kids, when we lived here in Providence, we'd go to the zoo in the cooler months.
Yep.
And it was awesome. We'd bring hot cocoa and walk around, and it was just a totally different vibe, and it was a better time to go. So.
Yeah, I've been when there's snow on the ground, and actually some of the animals are more active when it's colder out too.
It's a great take.
Cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go to look at the snow leopards today. You're not going to find them. They're out there, but you're not going to find them.
They're not thrilled about this climate.
But if you come to the zoo in January, you're going to see the snow leopards actually running and playing.
Totally.
And doing their well, they're not catching goats, but I was going to say doing their snow leopard thing, but they're not catching goats.
That reminds me, that sounds like very Jurassic Park with the goat out and the thing.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You guys aren't doing that. We'd have some angry parents if that's the case.
That's right.
A different side of authenticity.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny. That's one of the difficult things about curating the zoo experience for a guest is, they want nature, they want realism. Except
not all of it, though.
Right.
Yeah, not all of it.
Don't tell me that.
Right.
Yeah.
I do. That makes me remember at the Bald Eagle exhibit, you have the sign that says there may be parts of animals because of course they eat animals that they actually eat.
Yeah.
So it's like there might be, I think it's the mice or the rats.
Right.
That they have there. So it's just an interesting.
Those rats are not laughing.
Those rats are not laughing. That's very true. And we have two bald eagles and we have a golden eagle, and they're all wing injured birds that can't be released back into the wild. They can't fly. Yeah. They can't fend for themselves effectively. If they were, they wouldn't have survived. And that's the norm in an accredited zoo. If you see a bald eagle in an AZA zoo, it's because it can't go back to the wild.
Right.
That being said, we put the food out, so they have to work for it a little bit, right? So they're rats. We have a pair of wild bald eagles that live in Roger Williams Park that when I walk by the exhibit, I go, "Hey guys," and I look in, and then I look up in the oak tree directly above the exhibit, because especially in the fall and in the spring, likely as not, there's a bald eagle up in that tree who's waiting for the zookeepers to come so he can come down and steal 2/3 of what the keepers are putting out.
Yeah. Wow.
The bald eagles don't care. Yeah. The golden eagle loses his poor mind. Oh. He would take that wild bald eagle on in a heartbeat if he could, but he can't.
But
right?
he can't.
So
right,
so this male bald eagle's like, I've got a family to feed, and cool. There's a buffet right here.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny that there's
nature finds a way.
Nature finds a way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's unreal.
All right. Well, thank you, Stacey, for being on. Thank you for talking a lot about everything that you do and informing kind of everybody the different aspect, the different side of the zoo, and why Roger Williams Park Zoo is a great asset to the community. Thank you for coming on. Can we just again tell people where they can find information out about the zoo and tickets and everything like that?
Sure. The easiest place to find information about Roger Williams Park Zoo is website rwpzoo.org.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me. This has been fun.
All right, thank you.
For sure. Check them out. Brew at the Zoo.
Yes, Brew at the Zoo.
Let's go.
Come see it.
And Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular.
Yep. And holiday lights and everything else.
All of it. Yeah. Any day. Good day at the zoo.
That's right.
PVD POV is a podcast hosted by the Providence Warwick Convention and Visitors Bureau in collaboration with the College of Hospitality Management and Center of Media Production at Johnson & Wales University. Hosts are Alana Cerrone-O'Hare and Nick Millard. Production by Professor Brian Lavin with assistance from the graduate students in tourism management. Episodes are available wherever you download your podcasts. Visit GoProvidence.com for more information on these stories and everything else Providence.